What is up, everyone, and welcome to another SlabStox live YouTube show. My name is Aaron, joined here by Oogie Boogie, I think it is.
Heyo.
Happy Halloween from SlabStox here. Nate came all dressed up, looking very festive and everything for today's episode. Pretty excited, and I guess I'm an AlphaTauri pit crew member if I'm dressed up as anything right now.
Bum.
Do you say bum?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we've got a pretty good episode for tonight. I hope everyone has a great day and maybe trick-or-treating with your kids if that's what you're doing tonight. But before you do that, hopefully you're here to listen and talk about some sports cards, because that despite all the different posts that we've put up, that other people have talked about, obviously, or just you watching the market in general, there are cards actually in the sports card market in 2022 that have made people money. It is a fact. It is not false. And we're going to look at a bunch of different ones today that have done well in 2022. Obviously, it takes a little bit more things to go right for cards to increase in value right now versus last year or the year before that, but it's still possible. And we'll get into that discussion here in a little bit. So happy to see everyone come out, and feel free adding comments throughout tonight's live too if you think of any different sports cards that you've seen or different players that have made people some money. There we go. There's our little happy Halloween graphic on the slideshow. We got Giannis and his two kids, and I believe his fiance, she is, but there you go, little sunglasses on the kids, Liam and Nate. What's the other one's name? I can't remember.
Oh, I was muted. I have no idea.
Well, there you go. Nate doesn't know either. All right, from last night's PWCC weekly auction, just want to cover a few sales here very quickly. The two that landed on the podium at number one, number two was the Joe Burrow Contenders Championship ticket, numbered out of 25 PSA 10 with the 10 auto. If you compare that to the Cracked Ice, numbered out of 25 of Ja Morant, that's also numbered out of 25, but it's a BGS 9.5. They virtually sold for the exact same amount. The Burrow $600 more, which I know is still $600, but $18,600 compared to $18,000, pretty close. And we asked people what did they think the better long-term investment was. 66% of the voting so far says a Ja Morant Cracked Ice out 25.95. Nate, do you agree with that take?
Yeah, I do. A lot of QBs in the NFL, not as many dominant guards anymore, so I'm taking Ja.
I obviously like Cracked Ice is a more desirable parallel, at least from the standpoint of looks and eye appeal, and I'd say maybe current market. However, you gotta remember, championship ticket means a lot. The Tom Brady championship ticket's the most expensive football card of all time, numbered out of 100 though back then. Now they're numbered out of 25 for football, and the Cracked Ice has changed various numberings throughout the years for football. But Contenders does mean more to the football card market than Contenders means to the basketball card market. And for that reason, I'm going to disagree and take the Joe Burrow. I know that Ja Morant is an NBA superstar, and he will be for years to come. But Joe Burrow also is an NFL superstar now, and he's been doing extremely well recently after the slow 1 or 2 weeks to start the year. But we'll see how it plays out. That's for sure. Also, PSA 1010, better grade value-wise than the 9.5. But people love their Cracked Ice. I know that much. All right, next up, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, his market right now. We asked, do people think it's too low too low, he's going to be a superstar, or too high, OKC won't win anything. They are set up for the future. This year they won't win much or even make the playoffs most likely, but Shai is absolutely balling out. Nate, I don't know if you looked at his stats, but 31 points per game. It's like 7 assists per game, 5 rebounds per game, 2.5 steals per game, and 1.5 blocks per game.
Wow. I had not looked at his stats. I know they've been beating some teams that people weren't expecting, but that's incredible.
No, so yeah, seriously, absolutely insane stuff. He's doing extremely well. 63% of the voting says his market's too low. And right here is 2018 Prism White Sparkle PSA 9 rookie from 2018. Sold for $17.40 last night on the weekly auction. It's a 48% gain in the last 10 months. So he's doing extremely well. And then don't forget, there's always cards you can find on the weekly auction. I know these were some $1,000 cards, but there's always cards around $100 or less that you can find for some good deals if you take the time to go and look through it. We definitely picked up a couple nice cards last night under $100, some of which we gave away on our Flip Quest live episode, 9:45 p.m. Eastern time. But it is always a great time, and I encourage you to check out the listings on the auction because, like I said, if you do take the time, you can find some pretty sweet things. So, on to the main segment of today's episode, and it is, yes, you can still make money on sports cards. For the last couple weeks, I'm sure you either saw the post like I referenced, the one that I put up this past Friday, I think it was, comparing it was actually the cards from last week's Monday Live. So if you're in last week's Monday Live, we talked about the super high end grails, the 1-of-1s, out of 2s, out of 5s that were selling for a ton of money early in the year, flipped extremely quickly for the exact same cards and ended up dropping a lot in price. Well, there's cards on the flip side. And then it was MJ23KB24, I think the name is. He commented on the post and he was like, hey, he's like, it'd be great to look at the cards that actually are doing well because there are cards out there, including Jalen Hurts and a couple other guys that are increasing in value. So first one here that we looked at was the 2020 Contenders Cracked Ice Auto, numbered out of 22 in 2020. So that's the interesting thing. Basketball 2019 was out of 25. Here's 22. But the Jalen Hurts went from 14,000 to 21,600. That is from just August to October. So that's 2 months, 54% increase, quite a bit. The next one that we looked at. So the first things we're going to look at here are ones that we either posted on, wrote in newsletters on, a couple different things like that. And then the second part is going to be user-generated players and different cards that are increasing in value from an Instagram story poll we put up today. Erling Haaland, this is a BGS 10 refractor numbered out of 10 that sold for $29,520 last June, and then just sold 11 days ago for $38,400. And then Christian McCaffrey just posted about this one today. This card is actually extremely interesting because this was the exact same card, exact same serial number. Actually, same thing with the Erling Haaland. But same card, same serial number, sold on October 20th, 2022, the day he was traded to the 49ers for $350. His flawless rookie patch auto numbered out of 20. Well, that number 7 out of 20 resold yesterday, just 10 days later, for $625 after he threw for a touchdown, rushed for a touchdown, and caught a touchdown. First player to do that since 2005. It was a 78% increase. Nate, what do you think about Christian McCaffrey in the rest of the season? If he stays healthy, is he going to really, not necessarily throw for any more touchdowns, but keep up just the impactful performances?
Well, Kyle Shanahan's an offensive genius. We've seen that because he can use any quarterback and become dominant. And you give him, every running back he's had has pretty much been the when they're a lead back. They've been going through lead back after lead back after lead back after lead back for years. And every time there's a guy that's a lead back, they've been really good. And all of a sudden you give him a supreme talent in Christian McCaffrey and say, hey, you're our lead back. I feel like this is just the tip of the iceberg for him.
Yeah, and a lot of that has to do with staying healthy, right? Like he missed a lot of games the last 2 years. Clearly, he was dominant with the Panthers in the past. Playing with Kyle Shanahan, like you say, is doing well, and we'll see. And hopefully, it keeps on going because he's extremely talented. And it's fun to see talented players, fulfill their potential for sure. And then another one that is doing extremely well is Anthony Simons. So he just stepped into officially a starting role with the Trailblazers this year while Damian Lillard is healthy. And him and Lillard are doing extremely well. They're 5-1 actually at the top of the West, tied with the Suns. I don't know how many people saw it coming. What's up, Patrick? No sub for Nate. I mean, I guess can't really see Nate at all.
That's true.
But Anthony Simons, 20 points per game right now, hitting some threes and making an impact in that winning team. And these three cards on the screen here, so that's a Prism Mojo number out of 25 PSA 9. So for $1,250, $1,250. 2018 Impeccable RPA numbered out of 99 PSA 10, so for $1,116. And the Immaculate RPA Gold numbered out of 10, non-graded, so for $1,000. All three of these cards sold within the last week. And for these three specific cards, this is the highest sale of any of those three cards ever, and no matter the grade too. So like that PSA 9 Mojo at 25 has outsold both the PSA 10 and BGS 9.5 of the same copy from in the past. And of course, in today's market, outselling anything from the past in general is even a win. So to outsell better grades of the same card is a pretty big deal, and it just does go to show that there is still money to be made depending on the player and what's going on. Now, Nate wrote about this one for this morning's Daily Slab newsletter. If you do want to receive the Daily Slab, we send out every single morning for the last 4 years. SlabStox.com. It's just right there when you go on our website to sign up. 7 a.m. Eastern time every morning, packed with tons of hobby info, card market info, well worth the time and the read every morning. But cover Caris LeVert's market. Nate, why don't you talk a little bit about Caris LeVert and his position on the Cavs right now? And they're 5-1 also.
Yeah, they're 5-1. Obviously, I wrote about it, and then what does he do? He goes and scores 1 point. But before that, before yesterday, when I wrote it before the game, he had scored 10 plus points every game. He scored 41 points in 9-point victory against the Celtics. His plus minus on every game has been positive, so his team has scored more points than they've given up while he's been on the court every single game this year until yesterday when he scored only 1 point. And it's pretty crazy to me because nobody talked about him. It was Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, Kevin Love, Jared Allen. It wasn't ever Karis LeVert. And then you have a guy who is a fifth, sixth fiddle scoring 41 points. If you can show me one other team that can do that, I would be shocked.
I remember when Corey Brewer dropped like 52 points in a game or something like that. That was a similar situation.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, Global Sports Car Investor, this is only one peak sale. This is a 2016 Prism Silver PSA 10. Someone got very overzealous after that 41-point performance and popped one for $100. It's a $74 increase and 279% increase in the last 6 months on this card. Actually, yeah, 6 months. So quite the impressive increase there for Karis LeVert's Prism Silver PSA 10. Now, as for hockey, this is the only hockey card, I believe, in the slideshow because no one sent it into the question on Instagram for the rest of this episode. However, I did want to include it in here because David Pastrnak, who plays for the Boston Bruins, who as of 2 days ago, they were 8-1. I just want to check really quickly to see if they are still only one loss. Yep, they're still 8-1. They're actually playing tomorrow night against the Penguins. But David Pastrnak, he is second in the league in points right now, just behind Connor McDavid. So he's got 16. McDavid's got 18, but Panarin and Draisaitl also have 16. And his 2014 Young Gun PSA 10 rookie in the last, this is 3 months here, increased 44% in value up to $950. He's very good. A couple of years ago, he had a really nice season. I think 40 goals in a year. And then last year he had 40 goals in a year. And the Bruins are super hot. So get hot, score some goals, score some points, no matter what sport you're playing. And you can definitely, you getting a little hot in there?
It's getting a little warm.
Nate lives. You can see his face. There he is. And you can definitely turn some ROI on some cards. Now, before we get into the rest of the episode, looking at different cards that were commented on by our audience on Instagram, I did want to shout out. So today, 10/31, it is October 31st for Halloween. Yesterday was a Sunday and it was 10/30. So this was the first situation we ran into with a grain submission that landed on a Sunday, the shipment date. So it couldn't get shipped out yesterday because there's no mail on Sundays. However, it did go out today. And we actually overnighted the package too to make sure it got there as quick as possible. And then it also included any cards that actually arrived today. So whoever had cards arrived today, congrats, your cards made it into the order. And that means that our 10:30 submission is on the way to SGC. And we are now looking ahead to the 11:15 submission, November 15th. So I just want to give everyone a heads up. Plenty of time. There's 2 weeks to submit an order on slabstox.com/grading. Get your cards graded for $18 per card with SGC. They come to us. We package them all up together. We ship them off to SGC, and they get graded in less than 5 business days right now, even at the lower and more affordable cost. So quite the deal, quite the good experience we hope to provide for you all. And we'd love for you all to grade some cards with us. See some insane stuff. A 2017 Immaculate Premium Patch Auto rookie of Patrick Mahomes just came in the other day, Nate.
Wow.
Yeah, it's definitely probably one of the 5 bigger cards we graded, or at least 3 bigger cards. Hey, I just noticed that Pumpkin's got an SX on it.
You like that?
I need you to get that thing on your Instagram page for some people to see. That's pretty cool. Nice job.
I can't take any credit for it, but
oh, you didn't do it? Kendra did?
Yep.
Well, nice job, Kendra. Nate, you stink.
Yep.
That's awesome. That's really cool. Big John, awesome. Appreciate that. Thank you for agreeing with us. And Global says, Aaron, I know that you are a mad F1 fan. So where do you see the F1 car market in 3 to 5 years? Global, that's a great question. I think that, the more you see the sport and how it grows from a viewership standpoint, and this happened with soccer over the last 2.5 years, there will be a wider collecting base of Formula One. The question is, will the, Sapphire PSA 10s of Max and Lewis and stuff like that return to the values of what they were? Who knows? Sometimes there's perfect storms on some of these things to be lower population at the time. Not a lot got graded, a lot of hype at one time, and those cards hit huge values. But I do think that the overall wider collecting base will increase. Then as you see those grails change hands every few years or stuff like that, not within like 5 months on auction or 4 months on auction like we saw with the Lewis last weekend. I do think there's growth to be had there. Obviously, I'm a huge fan myself. The only thing that's yet to be seen, which I think is very important, is how the new products come out that they might be making that aren't just Topps Chrome or aren't just Topps Chrome Sapphire or Topps Paper, like, you know, a finest set or like a Stadium Club type of set. We'll have to see what that does for the market. And if it maybe ignites more interest, because the 2021 Topps Chrome set, I think, was not very interesting for a lot of people. And they've got some big opportunities to include some rookies like Oscar Piastri over the next 2 years, which should drive a lot of interest there. So we'll see. I mean, it definitely needs to get that those guys that people want to gravitate to the products for, because that's what matters in like baseball too. You know, you got a big first Bowman checklist and people want to get the product, a bad first Bowman checklist and people don't. Like, a lot of times that's what matters the most. Do you think it's too late to send in soccer cards for the World Cup? For, I'm assuming you're saying Big Jump, for grading submissions. I mean, by like the very first match, you might be like a little late, but if it goes out from us on 11:15, those should be turned back around and back in your hands from 11:15, like 2 weeks from then. So by the end of the month, and there'll still be matches going. It goes all the way until December 19th, I think the final is. So you do have plenty of time if you do want to get in for 11:15. Appreciate it. Just Ding It said, okay, I'll send some cards in. Appreciate that. Do you all check them before sending? So no, we do not look over the cards or send you an evaluation of the cards or wipe them down with a microfiber cloth, because we are able to offer at such a low price at $18 per card, the lowest you can find. We just do the processing of it, getting them all gathered together, sent off to SGC, brought back, processed back to you in a bulk submission style. And that's, you know, the benefit is the low cost. Now on the flip side, it does make you, you know, look at the cards yourself, learn how to grade cards, trial and error, see what grades well, what grades doesn't. I think it's a great skill to have regardless. I do encourage you to do it yourself. In case you think, you know, you do want to grade your cards, there's no shame in grading, you know, 5 cards to try it and getting 2 back that don't grade well because you maybe didn't know something would grade poorly. And then next time you do know. I think that's even more valuable sometimes, or it is more valuable than, you know, maybe the $25 that can be made off of a better grade. All right, here we go. We are going to be talking about some user-generated players that people think we should be giving some love to for increasing in price. Basically, I put on the SlabStox story today. Which players do you think aren't getting enough recognition for their price increases in the market? And this is what people had to say. So LOCS cards put in Osimhen. Now, Nate, I know you got this one for us. You got the data on this one. When you saw Osimhen, did you have any idea who that was?
Not a clue.
So when you saw that, were you like, I better Google that last name and see?
I looked it up on Card Ladder and just assumed that something would pop up. So Google or Card Ladder, the new Google.
So Victor Osimhen, he's 23 years old. He plays for Napoli in the Serie A Italian League. He is a Nigerian national team player. They missed out on the World Cup, so you won't see him in November. But he is destroying this year. He's got 7 goals in 8 matches in Serie A.
Oh, wow.
He's got a goal in the Champions League this year, and in last year's Europa League, he had 4 goals in 5 matches. So he's very, very good. Some guy that I would like Chelsea to sign if we can. And
you want Chelsea to sign everyone.
We need some good attacking players, bro.
Wait, so are you telling me that your guys that currently exist, Kai Havertz,
I'm telling you,
Christian Pulisic,
I'm telling you that Raheem Sterling is
they all
garbage.
stink?
We never should have signed Raheem Sterling, dude. That guy, his last match was so bad, I cannot even tell you. He just dribbles right into people and loses the ball every time.
Dude, I could have told you Raheem Sterling was garbage after just having watched him like one time last year.
I know. No, I don't disagree with you, man. I was never a huge fan, and then he scored 2 goals, and then like his second match he played for us. And I was like, oh man, maybe he's like actually gonna be good. And no, he has not been good. He's actually been very poor. But he started like every single match so far. But Victor Osimhen playing extremely well. I hope I pronounced that right. $40 for his purple, most recently October 29th. And then if you go back to January 4th, $25. So yes, marginally increases, but increases at that. And it is due to performance for sure. Donovan Mitchell, Nate, I drafted him in the fantasy draft. I think I mentioned like 4 episodes ago. 50 overall. It was the steal of the draft. He just dropped 79 fantasy points for me last night. What a
Wait, for everyone that doesn't know, explain how many teams are in your draft.
But that doesn't matter about draft position.
No, explain.
But yes, so there's 6 teams. There's 6 teams, but that doesn't matter about draft pick number.
That's fair.
It just doesn't.
That's fair, but still.
But I gotta say though, I mean, I'm just pretty excited about him because I've always been a Mitchell fan. Now he's in the Cavs, leading the Cavs. Are 5-1. He's dropping like 30 points a game or something crazy like that. And Nate, you guys fast break Prism Pink here out of 50.
Yeah. I tried to find something that was low number that's sold recently and sold in the past instead of grabbing like a Prism Green or something like that. But this card sold like January 10th for like 1,000, but then it was instantly relisted like 2 weeks later. So I grabbed the second listing for the sake of this, and also because, you know, if something is relisted, it's the exact same card that close, I assume that the first one wasn't bought, especially if it's through Probstein. So 870 on the second auction, 910 today. Not a huge jump in price there. But considering the market we're in, any jump in price is good enough to make it on the list for me.
That's definitely true. And I think what's really interesting here, Nate, is I don't know if you noticed this when you're grabbing them. I know you're grabbing a bunch of different players, but the card ladder estimated value on that one from January 25th is $469. So 870 was the sold price on January 25th, 2022. And based on how Donovan Mitchell's player index has changed from that point until now, basically the statistics is saying that that pink fast break is supposed to be $469. However, we just saw one sell for 910, as Nate pointed out. So that player index is weighted a lot by, you know, obviously like what's included in the index. This specific pink fast break was not. There's a lot of different, you know, silver PSA 10s, base PSA 10s, which over the last year or 2022 have dropped, 40% in price for like a Donovan Mitchell. However, this thing is beating the odds. So it is a good look to say, not every single number of cards are going to return value, but if you are looking to put your bets somewhere right now in a market that, buying something that's non-numbered and super high population in 3 months, very likely chance it's worth less money. This is an example to say, hey, it held pretty strong. I know Donovan Mitchell's performing very well, but still held strong. And Nate, why don't you talk about the Bo Bichette that we bought last night, the Gold Heritage Refractor number 5 rookie on our Flip Quest episode on the PWCC auction last night? Because you and I talked after it, or this morning actually, about why we bought that specific card.
Yeah, so were we searching for Bo Bichette last night? We were not. But sometimes a card pops up that is so rare, you can't wait to buy it at a cheaper price. You can't say, well, I'll just spend that money in November or spend that money in December and I'll be able to get it cheaper, because a gold out of 5 from Heritage probably is not going to show up in November or December, or maybe January or February or March or April. That's how rare it is. They might only pop up once every half a year, once a year, something like that. And so you got to take your opportunity when you can. And then, in the card market today, with everything that is happening worldwide, not just in cards, but worldwide, I think we're on the path of, if we're going to be spending our money, spending it on things that we know we just won't find, and we know that are going to be rare, and we know that if somebody really wants it, they might, up pay for it, no matter the current world market.
Yeah, and then timing too is another thing. Like, we didn't spend $200 on Bo Bichette Gold last night expecting to make $100 come January or something like that. And maybe come March, Bo Bichette's market does get really hot with spring training here, and then maybe we do go to sell it. But the expectation is that this is the type of card that, as Bo Bichette's career matures and everything, we can kind of sell it as Bo Bichette dictates it to be sold, which I think a lot of people do look at some cards and just say, oh, instantly, if I hold this for 3 months, 6 months, because we're seeing some of those auctions recycle so frequently, I should be able to make money out. That's not the case. Bo Bichette now needs to tell us, hey, when can you guys sell this? Most likely, are the Blue Jays going to be hot again next year? We hope so. They got a good core and everything. So I'm a fan of that. And that was the reason behind that. But I just think that's good to talk about. No doubt. Yep. Our me says, hi guys. Was so thrilled early to receive emails saying orders was sent to SGC. Can't wait for a reveal. Shout out to you both. Well, thank you, Army. Thank you for grading with us. Nate did so much work to package up those cards.
I was going to say, shout out to me for just being a huge part of the process.
No, but for real, shout out to the processing team back here in Milwaukee. I think it's like 700 cards out in the mail for the 10:30 submission. So shout out to all of you for getting your cards sent and for grading. And very excited to see what comes back in that order. Tim says, I got the blue disco Donovan Mitchell PSA 10. Well, there you go, Tim. Made me feel out what the market's like on that one. Also, Will says, shout out to Nate's beard. And Gabriel said, shout out to Big Papa Stocks. Papa Slabs is upstairs. Just digging, I'm a little confused by his comment. Is 2,000 too high? And is $2,000 too high end for grading with SGC? Absolutely not. Just digging it. Here's the beauty of grading with SGC, and the thing that I forgot to mention earlier is if you have a card that's from the year 2001 or later manufactured, there's not one upcharge that can happen to your card. So $18 is what the price you're going to pay on our website, and you won't get an email from me saying, hey, you sent in a $20,000 vintage card of Mickey Mantle. They're going to require you to pay a little bit more in fee as well. If you do send that in, you do get a really good grade on the Mickey Mantle card. You have a $20,000 card. I think you'd be very happy about that. But yes, for any card 2001 or later, there's no upcharges no matter if you send in a Joe Burrow NT at $70,000, a Federico Chiesa 2018 Optic Black Velocity, that's, I don't know, like $750, no upcharge at all. So that's a huge positive, and $18 is extremely, extremely hard to beat. Jordan says, my first time using SlabStox grading. Thank you, Jordan. Really appreciate it. Thanks for placing an order with us. Means a lot. And then Bazooka Tom says, shout out to the return of the neon signs. We had the dual neon signs. I think we had it last night, though.
Well, but we were gone, you and I both, for a week. So
no, I know. I'm saying last night the Flip Quest that we had it. Is it Papa Slab or Stocks or Papa Slab Stocks? We've been referencing Papa Slabs here on the old YouTube channel. How much do you think a quad auto Beckett 8 auto 9 grade with Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, Julius Irving should go for? Jim Baker asks. I don't know the exact price on something like that. All I know is that that's a sick card, especially if they're all on card.
Yeah.
Nate, why don't you go on and rattle off this next one when I do a little research for Jim?
All right, so 2020 Contenders 2,000 ticket variation here, rookie number to 20 PSA 10. Well, this card sold on the PWCC weekly auction back in July for $3,240, which at that point, I'm sure somebody was absolutely thrilled that they got that price. And the card ladder value there, you can see it back then, $6,341. That's what it's projected at today. Well, somebody bought it on the PWCC weekly auction on October 30th for $3,600 more than what card ladder had it pegged at $9,900, which is wild to say the least. But it's a super nice card. I really like these 2000s variations myself.
I love the retros. I think they're awesome.
Yeah.
Like I always like seeing some of the modern players and older designs, especially important ones like 2000 Contenders with Tom Brady's rookie.
Mm-hmm. Very cool.
Jim says, give me a range you'd be willing to pay. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Jim says, give me a range you'd be willing to pay. No research. You're smart enough to throw out a price. Well, I did do some research because that is a card that I just don't have enough experience with quad autos of basketball players from 2000 or the 2000s cards like that. I found the exact card you're talking about, $10,455 on October 25th, 2021. I will tell you why I'm asking. Well, go ahead. I probably just ruined it, but there we go. So it did sell for like 10 grand a year ago. There's a PSA 10 numbered out of 10, but all on card that recently sold for a 2004 one. The on card is a huge difference, and that sold for 35 grand, which is a huge card. I mean, the other one was not all on card. All right, this one's submitted by 805 Oxneem. Nate, if you told me the name Matt Wallner, just like how I asked you Victor Osimhen, like I would never be able to tell you who in the world this guy is.
That checks out. You would have to read like a Twins top 30 prospect list to know who Matt Wallner is. And since you're not as much of a moron as me and in doing, you won't stoop to those levels. So no. shout out you. But yeah, Matt Wallner is power hitter for the Twins. I can't remember if he is first base only or not, third base maybe. But what's funny is Jan 9th, $65. If you sold in September, yes, you were making money on a PSA 10 base auto at 91. If you sold today, not as much. But if you sold in September, if you timed it out right, you were making money.
So tell me, Nate, why would a Matt Wallner auto increase from January 9th to September 24th?
Well, easy answer is production, right? And let me grab that production for you real quick.
Yeah, I mean, I presume that would be the case.
So in Double A this year, in 78 games, he had 1,000+ OPS. In Triple A, he had an 839 OPS, 27 home runs between those two spots, and then he got called up to the majors and had a 709 OPS, which obviously potato, not great. But when you go in Double A, Triple A majors in one season, people are going to take notice, especially if you hit a decent number of home runs along the way.
There you go. Next one. This one is one of the biggest gainers on this entire list, actually, is Jamal Musiala, which kind of makes me upset because I had quite a few nice Jamal Musiala cards over the last year and a half or so, all of which are not in my possession anymore. But this was a 2020 Finest Aqua rookie number 75 PSA 10 from the Champions League set, sold for $690 a week ago via the PWCC Weekly, and go back to May 9th, an eBay auction, sold for $260. That is a very, very big gain there. We actually talked about him last night on the live. I was just trying to do some calculations quick. Yeah, 165% ROI. So I was talking about him on the live last night. 7 goals, 4 assists, and 11 matches in the Bundesliga. Scored a Champions League goal, I believe, as well. But he's the type of player that, and I feel like that we're seeing this kind of play out in some different situations in the NBA potentially too, where you know there's a young guy who puts up numbers when he gets the time, but just isn't maybe like there yet to be in the starting lineup or something like that. And then he hits the starting lineup and he proves that he can still do it now. You know, that's what Musiala was doing last year. I remember he wasn't starting every match and stuff like that. Now he is. And it's made a huge difference for his card prices. He's playing very meaningful minutes, just like Anthony Simons. Like last year, like he was putting up nice numbers coming off the bench to start the season. I believe Damian Lillard gets hurt, then he does start towards the end of the season. And his cards have also been on the rise this year. So if you are targeting players, obviously the biggest thing here is that you got to have guys that can put in production and also guys that people can buy expecting future production even further. Well, this Matt, whoever this Matt Wallner guy obviously yielded some potential ROI here. I mean, I'm not prospect genius in any shape, way, or form, or even like a casual, but I just never heard of this guy. So I never think to go buy this guy's cards. Like if you follow soccer, like you know who Jamal Musiala is, you know he's being a star, going to be a star, is a star right now, and it leads to much bigger gains. Not to say that you shouldn't find the guys like Matt Wallner, because sometimes that can lead to lower purchase prices and more cards you can buy, all that different stuff, which is also a good thing to do as well. And then on the flip side, Gabriel Martinelli for Arsenal had to get that one in there. His 2020 Merlin rookie blue out 75 recently sold for $80 and sold for $48 back in June. So nice little rise there. And some of his cards are on the increase. Some of his cards are kind of flat since they released because they released so soon. What?
Yeah, I was kind of noticing the same thing when I was looking him up earlier.
Yeah, because it's like most of his cards were released within the last like 8 months, to where it wasn't like, Shea had his cards on 2018. So it wasn't like that there's like high release prices earlier in the year. But for Martinelli, like his 2021 Prism rookie autos that released early in the year, the PSA 10 was kind of like flat or even decreasing just because they were selling for so much right after they came out of the set and stuff like that. But this was a W for a Martinelli card. Revisiting Shea Gilgeous-Alexander once again here. I did a little bit more research on him because John L. Ferguson here on Instagram threw his name out there. His 2018 Court Kings auto on card, numbered on 199 PSA 10. Nate, can you believe that card sold for $520 2 days ago?
I cannot.
Court Kings on card auto. Nice card, no doubt. The heir apparent. It also sold for $450 on the same day. If you go back to last year, December 14th, 2021, it sold for $300. So a nice increase there over the last year and some change, or less than a year. But this does go to show, I mean, While National Treasures and Immaculate and Flawless and the big staples like Prism Select and Optic are obviously talked about the most, it doesn't have to be those cards to return quality returns on players. And it's a little bit different once you get into like baseball and stuff, because in baseball, like, you can find value in Bowman's Best, especially depending on the parallels. But I don't think you would see Nate like a Gypsy Queen like gain this much value of a player that's playing well.
No, you wouldn't. Though, I mean, you could if you bought, say, a Vlad Guerrero Jr. in the spring or the winter of 2020, early spring, or late winter, early spring of 2021, and then let it ride for the entire 2021 season. You could make money on a Gypsy Queen, something like that. But I mean, it has to be you're buying the dude that ends up winning an MVP or becomes second unexpectedly.
Yeah, or like Aaron Judge. Like, you would have made money Aaron Judge Gypsy Queen cards too. So like, you can do it in instances. My point here though is that like Shea, while he is playing extremely well, like there's obviously NBA players that are still playing better than him, like Giannis and Ja and Luka and Donovan Mitchell and stuff like that. But Shea's doing extremely well, and it does prove that you do have some nice cards and they can sell for money, even if they're not the NTs and all that stuff. All right, this is a kind of a fun one here because Grant D. Valentine says, I used to joke about Bol, but he's starting to play some of his early speculated talents. So Bol ended up being, I think, a second round pick. It was out of Oregon. Yeah, it was second round pick for 44th overall to the Miami Heat, but they got traded on draft night to the Nuggets. And he had the bubble experience. Wasn't that the bubble, right?
I think it was the bubble, yeah.
When he went off in the first few games or something of the bubble and was scoring a bunch of points, and then I can't remember his preseason in the bubble. Either way, dude was just absolutely going off for 1 or 2 games. Card market went crazy. If you go back and look at the charts of the Bobo cards now, I think that they're probably just be pretty funny to look at. I'm going to look up his silver PSA 10. Holy cow, silver PSA 10's up to $123.
Wow.
Over the last month, it increased 53%. All time look though, this card touched, can you believe this? $660 for
shout out to the person that sold that for $660.
I think I have to screen share this page. It's just too funny not to actually show it.
Also, the fact that Bol made his way onto Orlando and is now doing well in a place where Mo Bamba couldn't do well is some sort of, I don't know what, but it is funny to think about.
So what you're looking at right here is his 2019. Yeah, he's doing quite a bit better than Mo Bamba this year. What you're looking at is Bobo's 2019 Prism Silver PSA 10. It's now a pop 995. You can see the growth of that thing even since April. It just about doubled since April. But since the first time this card sold, it sold for $10 once, February 26, 2020. It increased 1,000% because now it's $123. But it goes from, can you see this, Nate? All right, you can.
Mm-hmm.
It goes from $10 up to $67, trending up towards $200 June of 2020 as people are buying cards of NBA players with the bubble, presumably starting in a month, from then. And then he has one good game and it goes up to $712.50 at the absolute peak. And within 2 months after that, drops down 305. Something happened between that season ending and the next season starting. I remember again when the market got super hot between the bubble ending and then the actual next regular season starting. Got back
yeah,
up to
because it started what, late November, early December?
It did, yeah. It's like mid-December, I think. It got back up to $470, and within 1 year after that, it dropped down to. Wait a second. I need to find December 2021. 1 year after that, we're looking at $67. $67 1 year after that. But now it's back up to 123, which is a little shocking. Is he starting, Nate? He started 2 games of 7 this year so far.
I was about to say, don't ask me that. I don't know.
So he's averaging 11 points per game, 6 rebounds per game, and 2.4 blocks per game in 20 minutes. It's not bad for 20 minutes of action. I think, and he's still only 22. I think always the concern for him was like the injuries and stuff long term. But I mean, this is no joke. This is an actual increase, as whoever, I gotta get this back in the stream, as Grant pointed out. And Nate went and found a little bit more rare card here, 2019 Prism Green Shimmer, BGS 9.5. $227 back in January 19, 2022. $300 today, October 30th, 2022. So a small rise at that.
For a PSA 9.
Oh, for PSA 9. I missed that.
Yeah.
So presumably another $75 on top of that, probably for the 9.5.
Something more than what that is.
Yeah, whatever it is, it's more. If you go back and actually look at Bobo's silver PSA 10 from that point, when was that? That was January 19th. One sec. So silver PSA 10 increased 140%, Nate, in the same time that this increased, depending on how much that the 9.5 would sell for, but maybe like 60% or something like that. So this is not an argument to say like buy silver PSA 10s necessarily, but just funny that there's always both sides of the coin. Like you can buy all the rare cards you want, but sometimes there's just going to be that one silver PSA 10 that outpaces it, and you could gain more. And also you could lose more too if the player's not playing well. That's definitely true. But interesting nonetheless. Would you be selling? What?
I need Bull to stay healthy, Mo Bamba, Jonathan Isaac to get healthy. Is Jonathan Isaac playing this year? No, he has not played this year. I need Jonathan Isaac to get healthy, Mo Bamba to be healthy, Bull to be healthy at the same time, and all play on the court to be like the tallest small forward, power forward, center combo in the league.
Well, didn't the Cavs put out Lauri Markkanen, Evan Mobley, and Jared Allen in a game?
Yeah, that's true. They did.
And that technically is, I mean, Lauri Markkanen 6'11", which is a little bit taller than Jonathan Isaac. But Jared Allen's got to be like 7'1", no? Maybe I'm wrong.
No,
he's only 6'9", actually. Okay, so I thought he was way taller than 6'9". I mean, it's so tall. But either way, that'd be hilarious, Nate, if they did do that. Jordan says, Aaron, can you help me? Can you help advise me on Musiala card I have? Yeah, absolutely, Jordan. Either comment in the chat and I'd be happy to answer. Or
actually, Jordan, I can help you. I'll advise you right here. Send it to me. And I've always wanted a Musiala card. You don't have need of it probably, so I will take it.
No worries, Nate can take care of that.
Hashtag advised.
Gabriel says, I used to laugh at Bobo. Now he is laughing at me. That's a pretty funny comment. And then there was one more comment here. Will says, have Giannis's cards moved up in value? So I've been checking out his market over the last 2 weeks, mostly because he's just been dominating stuff and been writing about him in the newsletter. Some cards have done decently. Like I think his impeccable patch auto from 2018, obviously like not his rookie card, but like that gains some value. But like 2013 Prism PSA 10, if that's like the card you're looking at. Nate, I know last time you talked about is down 20% in the last 3 months, right?
For what card?
His 2013 Prism base PSA 10. Yeah, it's down 15% in the last 3 months. In the last 2 weeks, it's down like 7%. So that type of card is definitely not, bulletproof.
That is not the type of card we aren't looking for, but end up with on a PWCC live stream, right? We end up with the Boba Fett Gold Heritage out of 5 because it's so rare. We're not ending up with any 2013 Prism base.
Yes, I do agree with that. However, if you do look, his 2013 Select Silver PSA 10, at least in the last month, sold for like $500 more in the previous sale over earlier in October. Here's the deal. When you have a player like Giannis, or you have a player like Tatum or like Luka or Ja, their market cap and their market value is already so high. It takes a lot to move a lot of those cards up in value because there is just so much money involved in the market versus if Bobo goes off and his cards are $70, a lot of people might rush to grab all the $70 ones, and that next auction one sells for $100 because those ones sold for $70. Like, it doesn't take a whole lot for that swing to happen if someone's playing a little bit better. But when you already have a guy that's built so much value and legacy and all that stuff, it does take a little bit more. But I wouldn't be surprised if Giannis, like, I'm not going to say he's going to like score like 35 a game this year, but if he keeps up this type of domination throughout the season into the playoffs and everything, like I do think that like the nicer, the rare, the harder to find cards, not necessarily super expensive ones, because it could be, maybe an on-card patch off from 2017 or something. think you'll see a lot more collectors being like, if he gets a second ring, like, yeah, this guy's cementing himself. I think, Nate, like the first ring for a lot of players can sometimes be seen as like, oh, nice job, you got your ring. But like if you do it again, that's like the most important thing. And I think if he does it again, it's gonna be super important for his market.
I agree. I think some people can luck into one, or maybe not luck into it, but there's all-time greats like Dirk Nowitzki that won one, but nobody's saying Dirk Nowitzki, the best player of a generation. Nobody's putting him up there with Kobe, LeBron, Tim Duncan, anybody like that.
Right. It'll take a lot more than that.
Yeah.
Jordan, if Nate decides to sell this Musiala gift, where should he sell it and when? Jordan, the only way I can really help a whole lot with advising you on the whole Musiala situation is if I know a little bit more information, like the card, when you might bought it.
He said it. It's a Stadium Club Red Refractor PSA 10 out of 10.
Oh, that's sick. So first of all, it's a super good card. So I wouldn't sell yourself short on it. That's a nasty, like super awesome card. And then secondly, it just depends on when you bought it and how much for. Like if you bought it 3 weeks ago, I would not advise you to sell it right now. If you bought it a year ago, I'd say good time is like right now. We just showed that sale that sold on PWCC Weekly a week and a day ago, and there's been a lot of other really big Musiala sales on PWCC, like the Red Obsidian on 5 PSA 10 did 4.2K last night. That's a monster sale for a high-end Musiala card. There's like a Red out of 10 Topps Chrome sold for like $7,000 or something a month ago. Like his market's very hot. Like I'd say if you're looking to sell it by the end of this year, you should sell it now. If you're looking to hold it long term, then just hold it because he's a stud. And I think we'll play a big deal for him for the German national team going forward too. Nay, he's smack talking about Dirk.
I did see that. I forgot Jordan was a Mavs fan. I do like it. I like the commitment to defending your guy. Hey, Dirk, I love Dirk, former Buck for one night.
Bobo, former Heat player for one night.
I've always said if you can have Dirk Nowitzki or Robert Tractor Trailer, you have to go with Robert Tractor Trailer.
But RIP to Track.
That's true. All right.
I just saw this video that Rob Perez, Worldwide Rob, posted on Twitter the other day that said the Bucks intro for the retro night was like next level type of thing. They played the intro from 2000 or
Robert
whatever.
Tractor Trailer is on there.
Yeah, he was on there, and that's what just made me think about that.
So funny.
Ray Allen and stuff.
Sam Cassell,
Thomas.
Oh, those are good teams.
I was not nearly old enough to actually watch that team, but I wish I was. Born in 1998. It doesn't really work when you're 2 years old.
Yeah, that really stinks. Is that you had to sit through what till 2017 before we had a good team?
Yeah, I mean, I remember watching Brandon Jennings. I was an 8 seed.
Yeah, when Andrew Bogut broke his arm and destroyed the one good season we had since 2001, that was rough.
I actually didn't see that one like live or when I was like growing, because in reality, I wasn't really a basketball fan until I got to middle school. I was playing hockey all that time.
Well, don't look it up. One of the worst.
Oh no, I watched it. You told me about it like 3 years ago. I went and watched it right away. That thing was nasty. Makes you shiver. Evan Mobley, 2021 optic rated rookie. This is a laser prism, the pink velocity, actually, not laser. $202 October 30th, 152 October 12th. So that's a little quick flip right there. I know it wasn't bought and sold in that much time, but quick increase, I should say. A lot of people are really excited about that Cavs team. Nate, really quick, who's your Eastern Conference Finals right now? I think there's a lot of good, like good teams that could be at the top. The depth isn't as great. The West is pretty deep right now, record-wise. But what do you think?
Well, for me, I mean, it's obviously the Bucks,
obviously,
and like it's tough because like Nets are atrocious. Just like, but they could figure it out. They could both miss the playoffs and win the championship, and neither of those things would shock me, And then you have the Celtics, who, you like it or not, they got lucky. Chris Middleton was injured. The Bucks took them to 7 games with Middleton being injured. Middleton's in. The Celtics are not in the championship or even the Eastern Conference Finals. So that's one of those things where it's like, are they really that good? And I don't know, Pascal Siakam's looking great in the early going, but do I believe in the rest of the young pieces on the Raptors? I don't know. The Cavs are looking good, but do they have? It's a lot of young guys that haven't done it, and Kevin Love. I don't know. It's tough to say.
Well, I would love to see from like just a fandom perspective, like Bucks and Cavs in the Eastern Conference Finals would be like really fun to watch. I think that'd be fun to watch, but you're right. It is tough to say. Heat looked like garbage to start the year too.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of teams that aren't performing well, even on the Western Conference
Heat look
side.
like
too.
garbage. Kyle Lowry has not been good. A white guy that can shoot that I can't remember his name right now. Why
Duncan
can't I remember
Robinson.
What? Duncan Robinson
He
hasn't really
barely
earned
even
his
played.
contract.
He literally didn't even play like last year in the playoffs.
So
He's
like they've
averaging
got
5
a
points a
lot
game.
of wasted money over there. Is
Yeah,
what I'm trying to get
what
to.
happened to him, dude? He was like super good that one year.
Don't ask me. Ask somebody smarter than me.
I suppose I might have just told myself, though, he's super good that one year. Actually, 2 years, he was really good back-to-back years. He shot 44% from three, 41% from three, 13 points a game on 8 threes per game. And last year, he dropped down to 37% a game. And now he's not even playing enough minutes to get up more than 3 shots, 3 threes a game. So that's a lot of wasted money, like you said. All right, Trae Young, I believe, is our last player here. This is a 2018 Contenders variation auto PSA 9. So for $1,020 last night, and it's over $910 back on May 3rd. So with a lot of these basketball cards, yes, like Nate pointed out, Donovan Mitchell, not sustaining massive drops is a win here. It's not a whole lot. It's actually very similar to the Donovan Mitchell price trend, like almost exactly the same. But still a W for Trae Young. And also Trae Young torched us for 40 points. He barely did anything in the second quarter, and then in the second half he scored a ton. Also, Nate, super cool. So I didn't know this before I went to the game. Obviously, Aaron Holiday and Justin Holiday have played together in the past in the Pacers. I did not know that they're both playing on the Hawks right now. And then on the court at the same time, actually on the court I see Aaron Holiday. I'm like, oh look, Drew's brother. And I see Justin. I'm like, what the heck? They both are playing on the same team again.
Did they all get on the court at the same time?
Yep. They did, and I got this super, super cool picture. I'm going to show it because it'll work. Let's gotta zoom in. I got this really cool picture here. So they're inbounding the ball is Drew, and then number 3 and number 8 is Justin and Aaron.
Oh, yeah, that is really cool.
Yeah.
Shout out to the iPhone, real quick. I hate to say it because I was always a hater, but my goodness, is the camera on the iPhone amazing.
Nate, I was saying the second level when I took that picture. I was not in the first level.
Like, you can zoom in on things. Like the other day, I was zooming in we were walking in Wisconsin, and it was a beautiful fall thing, and I just zoomed in, and it was like on my old phones on Samsung, if you zoomed in, you could tell it was a zoomed in photo. It did not look zoomed in at all. It was crystal clear. It was amazing.
Yeah, no, the camera's really good. And also that is true, Jim. Max Struss, I didn't see that in the playoffs last year. He was like playing all the time over Duncan Robinson. So there you go, just better shooter right now than him. All right, so to round out the episode and finish it off, I did want to say this week we've got 3 different soccer card shows going on Whatnot, 6 p.m. Eastern time each day, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Tomorrow, Nate's got 2 boxes of Stadium Club Topps Chrome from 2020, though, the big rookie class with Jude Bellingham, with Jamal Musiala, with Kamavinga, Mukoko, Pedri, Adeyemi, all those guys. And then on Wednesday, I'm doing Stadium Club as well, except it's going to be 2021 with the Beam Team Chase. And then on Thursday, Nate's super excited for this. I know 20 different Merlin Blaster boxes. So there's some insane stuff being pulled out of Merlin Blasters. Messi red autos. Wasn't it like did the Gavi Superfractor get pulled out of the Merlin Blaster?
Was the Gavi Superfractor pulled?
I thought I sent you a picture of some insane Gavi.
You sent me a Ryan Gravenberch Superfractor auto pulled out.
Yeah, the Super Auto got pulled out of one, but also I think it was like a Gavi. Maybe it was like maybe a red or something like that. Something crazy.
I've seen Bastoni, a Messi insert Superfractor, Bastoni Superfractor, the Gravenberch Superfractor auto, maybe one other.
Yeah, no, there's definitely a lot of big stuff that's came out of them. So pretty excited about that. And happening all this week on Whatnot, 6 p.m. Eastern time. That's all we got for tonight's show. I hope everyone enjoyed. The biggest learning lesson here tonight is that, well, yes, we do like to report on the market fairly. That was actually a really nice comment someone had on our on our posts from Friday when I was posting about all those different high-end rare cards that were dropping in value. Like, the thing I love about reading your posts is I always know I can get both sides of the story. Like, I think that, just covering one side of the story, either all the cards dropping or all the cards gain value, neither is the correct picture. It's, you got to take a combination of the two. Right now, there is more on the drop side than the gain side. I will say making this presentation today was a little bit more difficult than last week, going through and saying, okay, which cards auction off earlier in the year now sold for less. That was a little bit easier, but regardless of the fact, you still can't make money in sports cards. When you are spending your money, I think it's very important to think like, hey, is this a card that I'd have to sell in 3 months? If you tell yourself that, I'd probably say don't buy the card, because unless you pick the correct player or the exact correct set, or you can actually, grade it and sell it, that's a different story. If you're buying it raw to grade it, with us at SlabStox grading, $18 per card, and then sell it when you get it back, like that can definitely work out. But from a slab perspective, buying and selling, just like the Boba Fett with us, like I don't expect to sell a card in 3 months. If in 3 months Boba Fett for some reason goes up 200%, sure, we'll sell it, but I don't expect that at all. So just always be on your toes. Be willing to research the market to see when the correct time is to sell, and let the market help dictate the selling strategy, I'd say. Which doesn't mean that, I don't want to say like, oh, you can only sell your cards once you see that a player's gone up in price, because obviously people sell for their own reasons all the time. Like we sell on different things and take losses, because then we do find that Boba Fett. They would say we're happier with $200 in the Boba Fett gold out of 5 than something else we might have. So that's all I'm trying to say is that make sure that you're thinking about those things when buying cards right now. Unless it's a PC card. I just bought a Reese James Merlin gold auto out of 50 last week for $85. So that was a great buy. I'm just very happy to have the card. So always love collecting in general anyways. I failed to say one player that was not in the presentation today, Geno Smith. Geno Smith is playing extremely well. His cards have definitely gained value today. Jim Baker has pointed out Geno Smith. And last thing I want to point out here, because there's some interesting discussion, is that this is one of Nate's pet peeves, is photographs in listings that have hands, or as Gabriel and Dylan have pointed out, feet in pictures.
I have not seen feet on a picture, but guaranteed that's a automatic no buy from me. The hands, though, with the fingernails, it gets me going every time. I get so grumpy. It's like, if you're going to take a picture of your hand, at least clip your fingernails. And if you're not going to clip them, at least clean them.
Oh, all right, hygiene with Nate 101 here.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's all I got. Happy Halloween, everyone. Enjoy trick-or-treating if you're going, or if you're handing out candy. And we will talk to you all next time in the next SlabStox Live, 6 p.m. Eastern time next Monday night.
Bye, guys.